Hello students, this is the continuation of chapter 3 and previous video. Open page number 19, 9. Rise of extremist. The heading is there. Instead of extremist, you have to write moderate. It is a printing mistake. So rise of moderates. Now what is moderate? Moderate means जो शांत स्वभाव के हैं, जो नॉन वायलेंस में मानते थे. So leaders like दादाभाई नवरोजी, सुरेंद्रनाथ बैनर्जी, गोपाल कृष्ण गोखले, फिरोज शाह मेहता believed in acquiring political rights through constitutional measures, and they were known as the moderates. So these leaders, Dadabhai Naoroji, Sundarnath Banerjee, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, they all wanted to achieve the rights. अपने हक वो लोग एक्वायर करना चाहते थे through constitutional measures, and so they were known as moderate. Since they had adopted a moderate attitude as per the trend of the time, the moderates prepared a strong ground for national awakening by uniting the educated middle class. They sowed the seeds of self-rule, equality, democracy, freedom in the minds of Indians. The outcome of their work formed a group of Indian youth who were enthusiastic, awakened, and confident. So these moderate leaders, they have adopted a moderate attitude, their behavior, शांति से, non-violence से, बिना झगड़ा किए, as per the trend, and so they were known as moderate. Through their speech and meeting, they made a strong ground for national awakening. लोगों में अवेयरनेस जागरूक करने के लिए they held meeting and they gave speech. By uniting the educated middle class, they sowed the seeds about they want democracy, equality, and self-rule in the minds of the people, and the result of their work was a group of Indian youth was formed where people were enthusiastic, जोशीले थे, कॉन्फिडेंट, आत्मविश्वास के से भरपूर, एंड अवेकन और जागरूक हुए. Then came the moderate leaders, but here you have to write extremist leader instead of moderate. In contrast to the moderate ideology, there was a group of three leaders: Lala Lajpat Rai from Punjab, that is Lal; Bal Gangadhar Tilak from Maharashtra, Bal; and Bipin Chandra Pal from Bengal, Pal. So these three were known as Lal, Bal, and Pal. These leaders wanted to acquire the self-rule not as a favor but as their right. They followed the policy of aggression and revolution, and hence were called the extremists. So extremist leaders means they were the opposite to the moderate leaders. That means they wanted their right through any means. लड़ाई झगड़ा कर भी अपना हक वो लोग लेना चाहते थे. There was a group of three leaders: Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal. And these three were known famously as Bal, Lal, and Pal. Now these three wanted their freedom. They wanted the freedom to not as a favor, यानी दान दक्षिणा के रूप में नहीं चाहिए, बट एज द राइट, अधिकार समझ के उन लोगों को फ्रीडम चाहिए. एंड सो टू अचीव दिस दे फॉलो द पॉलिसी ऑफ एग्रेशन एंड रिवॉल्यूशन, एंड सो दे वर कॉल्ड एक्सट्रीमिस्ट. सो नॉन वायलेंस, शांति से उन लोगों ने हक नहीं मांगा. दे फॉलोड the policy of aggression and revolution, and that is why they were called extremists. Now the first extremist, that is Lokmanya Tilak. He was born in 1856 and died in 1920. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, popularly known as Lokmanya Tilak, was a prominent extremist leader. He gave the slogan, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. So this Lokmanya Tilak, he was popularly known, Bal Gangadhar Tilak was popularly known as Lokmanya, and he was a leader because the people, they used to listen to him, and he gave the slogan to the people, and the slogan was Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. तो क्या है कि स्वराज मेरा जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार है और ये मैं लेकर रहूँगा. Then he started the celebration of two festivals, that is Ganesh Chaturthi and Shivaji Jayanti. Further, he started two newspapers, namely Kesari in Marathi and Maratha in English. So two newspapers were started. One was Kesari in Marathi language and other was Maratha in English language. Its impact was noteworthy and the effect was very good. He played an important role in the Home Rule movement in 1916 CE, and this was very important or played an important role. Now turn your page number 20. The next was Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai 1856 to 1928. Lala Lajpat Rai became popular as Punjab Kesari or Sere Punjab. He was badly beaten in a lathi charge while protesting against the Simon Commission, and it became the reason of his death. So, this Lala Lajpat Rai, he became well known as Shere Punjab or Punjab Kesari. Now, when he went to protest the Simon Commission, that is, go back Simon, to drive away Simon from India, he was beaten by a British officer Saunders, and because of this, he died. So, in the Lathi charge, Lala Lajpat Rai died. He quoted, "The government which attacks its own innocent subject has no claim to be called a civilized government. Bear in mind, such a government cannot survive for long." So, when he was beaten by Lathi, what he said? He said that the government with hits, that is Lathi charge, on the innocent people, Nirdosh logo par, cannot be called a civilized government. And he also told people that keep in mind that a government with such behavior cannot rule the country for a long time. Further, what he said, "I declare that the blows struck at me will be the last nail in the coffin of the British rule in India." And he declared, he announced that the lathi charge done on him shows that this is the end of the British rule and people of India will not leave you and will not allow you to rule further in India. Then the next was Bipin Chandra Pal, that is 1858 to 1932. Bipin Chandra Pal was one among the trio of Lal, Bal and Pal. Initially, he came in contact with Brahmo Samaj. He started a weekly New India and a newspaper Vande Mataram. The British government accused him of provoking the youngster in violent activities. He was in favor of acquiring Swaraj through revolution. So now these three people, that is the trio, Lal, Bal and Pal, they were strong against the Britishers, and he came in contact, this Bipin Chandra Pal came in contact with Brahmo Samaj. He started a weekly New India and newspaper Vande Mataram. The British government blamed Bipin Chandra Pal for provoking, that is Uskerana, the youth in violent activities. From this we can say that Bipin Chandra was in favoring of acquiring Swaraj through revolution. Then establishment of the Muslim League 1906. The Britishers had adopted the policy of divide and rule. Nationalism was growing at a quick pace in India, and the Britishers found it necessary to break the national unity. Now we saw that the Britishers have adopted the policy of divide and rule, but then also nationalism was spreading rapidly, and so it was necessary to stop this nationalism and to break the unity among the people. And the Britishers were successful in this by convincing, that is, Manalia, a group of Muslim leaders, and formed a Muslim League, and it was formed in Dhaka in 1906 CE. So they successfully convinced a group, and a Muslim League was formed in Dhaka. The religious head of Muslims, Aga Khan, Nawab of Dhaka, Salim Ullah Khan, Viceroy Minto, and his private secretary Dunlop Smith played a vital role in the establishment of the Muslim League. So, the religious head of Muslims played an important role in the establishment of the Muslim League, and their names were Aga Khan, Nawab of Dhaka, Salimullah Khan, Viceroy Minto. And this Viceroy Minto was very clever, and with the help of his secretary Dunlop Sweet, Muslim League was established. Then Home Rule Movement, that is 1916. Home Rule Movement means हमारे देश में हमारा राज, freedom. Between 1916 and 1918, when the World War I was closing, prominent Indians like Joseph Baptista, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, G.S. Khaparde, Sir Subramania Iyer, and the leader of the Theosophical Society, Annie Besant, decided to organize a national alliance of league across India, specifically to demand home rule or self-government within the British Empire for all in India. So now there was a World War first between 1916 and 1918, and it was closing, so now it was going to end. At that time, these Indian leaders, they all together decided to organize a national alliance of league, and they demanded home rule or self-government within the British Empire for all India. During this time, Tilak was confirmed with the title of Lokmanya. Annie Besant, who various articles in the weekly The Commonweal and in the daily New India. So now at that time Tilak was confirmed with the title of Lokmanya. Now Lokmanya, the title was given because the people at that time used to listen to him. लोग उनकी बात मानते थे, सुनते थे और मानते थे. Then Annie Besant, she wrote an article about the home rule movement in his weekly The Commonweal and in the daily New India. These were the magazines which were written by Annie Besant. Annie Besant appealed to the British government to share, now page number 21, administrative powers and grant the home rule to India at the earliest. Then after writing the newspapers, what Annie Besant told? Annie Besant requested to the government to give away the administrative powers to Indians as soon as possible. Indian National Congress and the Muslim League supported the Home Rule movement. So these both parties, they supported the Home Rule movement. Annie Besant was kept in house arrest at Uttar Kamanadalam, that is Ooty, by the British government. Demonstrations and protests were launched at various places in India, and finally the British government had to set her free. So when Annie Besant had written the magazines and appealed the government to give away the administrative powers, she was arrested, उनको पकड़ लिया, and was kept in a house. So the people, they started demonstrating and protest, and छुड़वाने के लिए, to set her free, उनको छुड़वाने के लिए demonstration and protest was started at various places in India, and finally the British government had to free her, उनको छोड़ दिया. Lucknow Pact 1916. Lucknow Pact refers to an agreement between the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League at the joint session of both the parties. So Lucknow Pact means Lucknow Samjhota. So this agreement was between the Indian National Congress and Muslim League, where both the parties were united, and it was held in Lucknow in the year 1916. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, then a member of the Congress as well as the League, made both the parties reach an agreement to pressurize the British government to adopt a more liberal approach towards India and give Indians more authority to run their country. Then this Muhammad Ali Jinnah, they created a pressure on the Britishers to leave India, India छोड़ के चले जाओ, and give the rule in the hands of the Indians. The Lucknow Pact also established cordial relation between the two prominent groups of the Indian National Congress, that is, the moderates and the extremists. The other great job done by this Lucknow Pact was this Lucknow Pact united the extremists and the moderate leaders of the Indian National Congress. So students, the rest of the chapter we will continue in the next video.